Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to today's episode of Today's Best Stock Picks. It's Tuesday morning, February 23rd, 2021. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about electric vehicle stocks. Specifically, we're going to talk about Lucid. We're going to talk about Tesla taking a little bit of a hit. We're going to talk about NIO and XPEV, which were on fire literally for probably about a month and a half, 2 months. Very easy to trade, very easy to make money in. And now they're kind of in the doghouse, very similar to what we're seeing in solar stocks. So as we've been discussing since last week, coming off of that 3-day weekend last Tuesday, we were very clear that sector rotation was obvious. We were starting to see cracks in the armor, and we were calling for a short-term market top. We've got it. We're starting to sell off a little bit. The futures are down a little bit today too. For total clarity, we've started to reduce the amount of swing trades that we had the last couple of days, both Monday and last Friday, not sizing up that much. And again, this is the difference between chart reading and actually being a trader, is you have to manage share size appropriately depending on the market conditions. And the market conditions got a little bit tougher. So if you have this scale in your mind where I really love it versus it's okay, you start to scale back a little bit. If you still see good ideas, but you're not seeing the volume, you're not seeing what we call well bid, we're not seeing that clean follow through. We had a couple of trades recently, actually twice. We called out Penn Gaming, where we had some really good entries, moved in our favor pretty quickly, and then kind of melted. Yesterday, we had Win, which was one of our better ideas yesterday, which exploded exactly the way we expected, also pulled back. So again, we lightened up and got out of a decent amount of those positions because we didn't see the follow through. Normally, I don't exit swing trades on the same day I got in, but the selling was intensified. Walked everybody in the boot camp through why I was exiting the positions, because I kind of have this rule where if the day I put it on, I'm not going to micromanage it. But yesterday was different, and we've been saying it's been different from last week. So hopefully you're a regular subscriber to the channel and you kind of get these updates, because we're really giving active trading scenarios to spur how you're managing your trade. So if you love these type of comments, you love these type of videos where we're talking about here's what we're seeing and here's what we're going to do next, definitely click down and subscribe. I really appreciate it. You'll get these kind of videos with stock picks as well as education. We usually do education Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so you can get those as well. So what's the deal now? What are we looking for? Well, the market just kind of kept melting higher. If you remember last week, we also discussed that we were pushing higher, but as we were pushing higher, the volume just kept drying up, which means that we did not expect that to follow through. Yesterday, we actually had a really interesting setup between the SPY ETF and one of the market internals that we watch, which is the tick indicator, where the SPY kept going higher and the ticks kept going down, which is the inverse of what should be happening. The ticks, if you don't use that internal, is measuring upticking stocks versus downticking stocks. So just a very quick, if 1,000 stocks go up and 300 stocks are going down at that moment, you get a plus 700 reading. So that's positive. When you start to see positive tick readings, that means the mass of stocks are heading in that direction, which kind of confirms what you see in the ETFs as well as in the individual stocks. But we actually had the opposite of that yesterday, and it was pretty interesting. We actually called it out. I think it was happening right around 12:30, where we said that's exactly what we're not supposed to see. And right on cue, right after that, the market just kind of melted down. I'll see if I can find that image. We actually posted the image into our community. But these are the things. These are the things about building an argument for a trade. So today we're going to talk about CCIV, which is getting clobbered. The futures are getting clobbered. We're going to take a look at some of the electric vehicle stocks and whether or not they are bargains at this point. And is it a time to start getting in? I have a pretty strong opinion on that. Home Depot had earnings today, and we're also going to get into Janet Yellen's comment on Bitcoin, which is pretty interesting. Let's head on over to the charts and take a look at the first news. So obviously, we're talking about Lucid Motors going public. They're saying $11.8 billion blank check. It looks like they're going to end up having about $4.4 billion in cash. So what does that mean as a trade, right? First, we'll take a look at the market. Obviously, as we've been talking about, sectors breaking down, the market breaking down, futures are down. So this is kind of cool, for lack of a better way of putting it, where the market's a discounting mechanism. A lot of these get out of the house stocks are starting to rally and have been rallying because they're predicting what they believe is going to happen 6 to 12 months from now, which is obviously if the vaccine continues to do what it's supposed to do, cases are rapidly going down. These kind of get out of the house stocks, which we're going to talk about in a second, are the better stocks. So the futures are down now, as expected, pulling back a little bit. We're going to head on over now to what we've been talking about, CCIV, and you can see here it's actually down 20%. Just to give you an idea of what that means, this is what the chart looks like. So that's what it looks like now, and the market hasn't opened yet. So it's about 3 hours before the market opens. About 3 hours before the market opens. So we can expect additional selling after the bell rings. But what does that mean for a trade? Now, the stock has been pretty active lately. It's been getting these spikes on news, rumors. Now it's fact, right? It just came out. So selling the news right now. So where is the buy opportunity? You can see that this launching pad of around $35 is where the buyer stepped in and said, okay, let's start holding the bid. That's where the smart money started to accumulate positions. So think about what I just said. That's where the smart money started, right around 35. Right now, the stock is trading down around 37 and change. That's where I'm going to start to look to start accumulating a position. Now, remember, very clear there what I said. Start accumulating a position. Doesn't mean you go into 35 and I'm going to start loading the boat at this spot. Again, everything we do is for educational purposes. Everybody has different position sizing, risk tolerance, and that kind of thing. 35 area is where I'm going to start looking to start building a position. So I usually have my first piece and then only start adding as it moves in my favor. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. Take a small, reasonable loss if it moves against me. Starts to move in my favor. That's when you start to add. And again, proper trade management means that you have your largest share position on the bottom, and then as it moves higher in your favor, you lower your share size as it moves in your favor. So you build that solid pyramid. That's just good money management. So that's what we're looking at in CCIV. Now the next question is, what are we doing about some of these other ones, specifically Tesla? What's going on there? We mentioned this the other day. We were looking for it to crack support, built two scenarios. We literally said 700 would be the next level. If the bids did not hold, it's actually down at 669, 680. I'm sorry, we actually said 680 would be the level. Go back to that video. I believe it's February 17th. Bottomed out, looked like it was going to reverse. The market got too heavy. Here's the big thing about Tesla, and this is important. I can tell you this as somebody who's been an entrepreneur forever. They have a monster first mover advantage. They have a monster foothold in the U.S. market. But as soon as you start to see more competition coming in, as soon as you start to see somebody saying we're lowering the prices, that's not good. I don't care if you're selling milk or electric vehicles. That's not good. So we're starting to see cracks. Now we need to start moving out to some of those lines in the sand that are important to a lot of longer-term growth investors. The 20-period moving average, the 50-period moving average, and the 200. We don't want to see Tesla getting all the way down near the 200. That's bear market territory. However, there's a lot of Tesla zealots out there that just love the stock. They see Elon Musk as the next Steve Jobs. Regardless of the reason, you can't say, I hope it comes back, because it always comes back. You have to have some line in the sand. So we're going to actually I should say that you can do that. It's just not smart trading. Probably a better way to put it. So we're going to take a look, and we're going to go over to the 50-period moving average, which would be the next big line in the sand for Tesla. You can see we've actually cracked it. This is the level that is in between active trading and what you might call position trading, and holding that 50-period moving average is incredibly, incredibly important. And the next one would be the 200, which is way down here. So obviously Tesla investors, whether growth investors or long-term value investors, do not want to see this level come in. But we are now getting up and near that level that we called out last week. So you can see the volume is actually intensifying on the short side. These are all signs of what we do not want to see right now, but it is what we're seeing. So again, if you are a good active trader and you're on top of your game, you make these decisions beforehand. That's what we do in the boot camp. What you really, really need to do is script your success. When you have plans in place, when the market opens, you're just really following your plan. It's not really that big of a deal. You're just managing risk. You're managing leverage. You're managing positions. That's the stage that you want to get to, because it significantly reduces your stress level in trading because you're really just running a business at that point. But you first need to understand order flow and how to read the tape so you can script out those decisions. If you want to join me, if you want to get my best stock picks sent to your phone, click down in the description. I would absolutely love to see you on the other side. Learn about the boot camp. So we're going to head back over to the charts. What does this mean now for NIO? What does this mean now for XPEV? These have pretty much been the ones that we've been trading, right? So XPEV, we're going to go after a little bit longer term chart. XPEV now is on the precipice of cracking weekly support. NIO is now finally breaking out. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a week ago, we actually said that we set our alert for NIO for 65. When it gets over 65, wake me up. It's actually breaking out of this weekly consolidation in the opposite direction where now it's actually crashing and the next support is around 40. So what does that mean again? What does that mean as a trade? Well, we don't want to be the pioneer buying this thing on the way down. We want to see some sort of short-term confirmation to say the smart money is starting to get back in there, which in our universe, in our world, that means we're looking for what we call a bullish U-turn. And it would be a candle that looks something like this, but after a couple of selling candles. So if we go back onto the daily chart, and this is actually what we're looking for, but we're looking for it to happen on the way down here. So if we get one more day of selling, it's actually down 7% now. We're looking for this kind of candle. In our universe, we call that a bullish U-turn. Then we have specific entry patterns of when we'd be looking to get back in and specific entry signals. We kind of keep that into the boot camp. I don't want to give that away today, but that's actually what you're going to be looking for. Some other ideas today that I actually like quite a bit. Disney just absolutely obliterated its normal trading average true range yesterday, exploded. Just to give you an idea from a day trading perspective, what this stock did yesterday. Let me get the pre-market action off of there. This is what Disney looked like yesterday on a 5-minute chart. It was just off the hook. Now what, right? Once the stock does double what it normally does in one day, now what? Well, we actually punched through levels we have not seen in this stock. I'm looking for follow through. I don't care that it opens lower today. I'm going to still be looking to put on positions here today. Hopefully you watched yesterday's video. We were all over the energy stocks. It was the highlight of yesterday's video. Got some really good clean follow through, and almost all of the stocks that we watched yesterday, those positions are kind of sitting out there. I was not as aggressive. I got called out by one of our members yesterday that I wasn't as aggressive as what we put in the game plan, but you know what? Stuff like that happens. Two other ideas that we want to talk about today are Riot and Mara. I just want to point this out here. Riot is actually down almost 20% right now, and Mara is down 20.5 as well. Obviously, they're trading along with Bitcoin right now, and Bitcoin is taking a hit, so we'll just go out to the futures. The current, this is actually where we are right now in Bitcoin, and we actually said this. We said this a couple of days ago. The way that's, and I want to come back on the screen for a second, the way that stock traders watch the SPY or the NASDAQ or the Qs or the Dow as leading indicators, if you're watching right now Riot, Mara, any one of those types of stocks right now, you need to be watching Bitcoin futures the same way that stock traders are watching those other major indices, because they're trading, that's how they're trading. That's their leading indicator. And back in the day, we used to watch Cisco as the leading indicator for NASDAQ trades. Believe it or not, it was that actively traded, actually moved before the futures. Right now, you need to have Bitcoin futures on your chart if you're trading Riot and Mara. So we're really looking for that. Now, what's interesting is around the 44,000 level in Bitcoin seems to be where we're bottoming out and what should be bottoming out. So what does that mean for Riot and Mara? We are actually looking for it to open a little bit lower, which now you're going to see it's opening down here around 52. Very similar to what we talked about before. We were looking at an area of a bullish U-turn, which would be a reversal. I don't bottom fish. I want to make it clear. I wait for the smart money to get in, show me that they're already involved, show me what we call accumulation type days, and then we start to dip our toes in. So keep these on your radar. I'm not ready to call an entry in here yet. One other trade that we had yesterday, which hopefully you participated in as well, is Trip. We had some really big winners yesterday. I hope that you watched yesterday's video. And last but not least, we just want to touch on what we're calling the get out of the home stocks, cruise lines and airlines. And we'll just take a quick look at these guys. And we actually talked about them yesterday as well, and NCLH, as well as the popular airlines. A little bit late to get into this move. They've been well bid for a few days. They're sitting at resistance levels. But have to keep them on your radar right now. So we got a good push here, and the cruise lines and the airlines got a push, looking for a pause, and that's going to set up the next swing trade. So keep on top of those energy stocks we called out yesterday. Be a professional before you jump into these Bitcoin-related stocks that are taking a little bit of a hit right now. Gave you the level I'm looking at in CCIV right now. It's going to be an interesting day. Jerome Powell on top of that today, so a lot to do. So don't forget, if you find these videos helpful, definitely click down and subscribe. That would be awesome. You'll also get some updates. And if you want to trade with me, definitely click down in the description too and learn more about the bootcamp. Have a profitable day. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much.